With the Wuthering Waves Time Cyberpunk collab just around the corner, I know a lot of new and returning players are coming back to the game. So now is the perfect time to create a guide for new and returning players, because let's face it, some of you just showed up for Lucy. A lot of y'all don't even know what a gacha game is. That's why I'm here to help. This guide will cover everything you need to know to catch up quickly, build strong teams, and save resources for future characters, and basically to make your account future-proof. First off, I don't really need to tell you, save up all your pulls. Save up every Asrite, which is the premium currency in this game, because if your goal is to secure the Cyberpunk characters and their weapons, you should start saving as soon as possible. That being said, how do you save up in this game? Well, let's talk about currency. Asrite is the main premium currency. Radiant Tides are limited character banner pulls. Foraging Tide is limited weapon banner pulls, and Lustrous Tide is standard banner pulls, all which can be exchanged with Asrite. But as a rule of thumb, never exchange your Asrite early. Just wait till you're actually rolling on a banner. It'll automatically get converted into the type of currency you need for that banner. And the Cyberpunk collab has new specialized currency for that specific banner, as well as their own separate banner. So keep that in mind. So don't convert your Asrite early. If you know, you know. Moving on. All character banners guarantee a 5-star within 80 pulls. If you lose the 50-50, your next 5-star is guaranteed to be the feature character you're rolling for. If you lose, you'll get one of the standard banner characters. However, the 50-50 is always guaranteed on the weapon banner. Honestly, the best kept secret is to save your Asrite until you reach hard pity on the banner you want. It'll just put your mind at ease, knowing that you'll guarantee whatever character you want on that banner before you start rolling. And if you get lucky, you get lucky. You get the character early, you get to save some Asrite. Basically, avoid impulse pulling and only spend Radiant Tides on characters you truly want. Some 5-stars that you should guarantee be on your account is Shorekeeper. I think you have access to a beginner banner that disappears once you get the character you select, and you should roll for Shorekeeper on this banner. There's also another beginner banner with the standard banner characters. You should get Verena from that one. You also get to choose one of your own 5-stars after reaching a certain point in the game, and if you don't already have Verena, I would choose Verena. If you got lucky and got Verena without having to pick her, then you can do whatever you want with this free standard 5-star. But I'd recommend Encore, who's a pretty strong fusion DPS early game. You should also level up Sanwa. You get a free copy of this character if you progress through the game at some point. And she is a sub DPS support that buffs basic attack damage and has an extremely fast rotation. And if you don't know what a rotation is, I'll explain that in a bit. Also, for main DPS, you can level up Havoc Rover. You get access to the main character's Havoc element further down the story. It's a free main DPS that's pretty strong early game. And if you don't want to spend Asrite, yeah, I'd recommend leveling him or her up. Now let's talk about combat terms that you should understand. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I was searching up videos, there was a lot of lingo I just didn't understand in the game, but I'll explain it to you now. First, you have basic attacks. Every attack is numbered throughout a combo, so if your combo has 5 different attacks, there's basic attack 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you have heavy attacks where you hold the basic attack button down. You have resonant skill, which is like in any other game, a skill that has a cooldown. It's the triangle button on PlayStation. I'm not sure about PC. Resonance liberation is like your ultimate. It's R2. You build energy up in order to fill up your Resonance Liberation until it's full, and then you can use it. And it also has a cooldown. A Forte Circuit is a unique mechanic for each character, which gives access to special resources, alternative forms, or enhanced attacks. It's usually holding down the basic attack, so your heavy attack once your Forte bar is full, which can be seen at the bottom of the screen. Then you have intro skills and outro skills. An intro skill is activated when a character enters the field. An outro skill is activated when a character leaves the field after building enough concerto energy, which is basically a combo meter you're trying to fill. And once it's full, you switch out to another character to do your outro skill, which may provide buffs to yourself or the team and also do damage. It depends on the character. Now, Quick Swap, what is this? This is an advanced mechanic, basically like a combo cancel. It's not really a mechanic that the devs talk about, but it can be done.
Quick swap is when you rapidly switch between characters instead of staying on one character. The benefits of this are more damage, more buffs, faster rotations, better endgame performance, and it'll look like you have more than one character on the screen at the same time. Also, a rotation is just how fast it takes your character to fill up their Conchero, aka the combo meter, before switching out. Then you have the different elements. You have Spectro, Havoc, Fusion, Glacial, Aerial, and Electro. But unlike a lot of gacha games, Wuthering Waves is more focused on the character and their kits and their team synergies rather than elemental reactions. It's mostly just buffs and debuffs. Then you have Vibration Strength and Stagger. Many enemies have a white bar beneath their health bar, and this is their Vibration Strength. Once it's broken, enemies become staggered, vulnerable, and cannot move, so you can do a lot of damage at this time. Learning when to break enemies is a huge part of high-level combat. They recently added Toon Break, which helps destroy Vibration Strength, and timing it right can stagger a boss and let you do extra damage and break their guard quicker. Then you have negative status effects, which inflict slow, freeze-like effects and damage over time debuffs on the enemy. You have Glacial Chafe, which completely freezes enemies. Spectral Frazzle, which also freezes enemies and raises your crit rate for spectral characters. You have Fusion Burst, which builds up and does a hella damage, as well as Havoc Bane, which weakens the enemy's defense. Then we have Electro Flare. I'm not exactly sure what that does. And yeah, you'll know based on the description when a character does these types of negative status effects. They are becoming more and more meta as the game moves on. But yeah, some more advice about combat is to learn how to dodge. Dodging and parrying are going to be your best friends. Learning enemy attack patterns, and make sure you use your healer supports every now and then. Now when it comes to echoes are like artifacts in any other game. You know how you build stats up on your character. Make sure you're using the correct main stat and substats for the characters you're using. You don't really have to grind echoes until you can gain access to gold echoes, and for this you'll have to raise your union level, which is basically your world level. By the way, there's a new feature where you can also recycle leveled artifacts. So let's say you level an artifact to 10 or 15 and it's useless. Well, through the menu you can go and recycle and get some tubes back. Just go to your backpack, go to where your echoes are, press square or whatever it is on PC, and go through the echoes you don't want to use. Click X and square again, I think, and it'll ask you if you're sure. That's basically how you get rid of them. The best way to get echoes early game is to just explore, fight overworld enemies, and complete tacit fields every now and then. But tacit fields require wave plates, which are like resin or energy in this game, and I'd rather spend my early energy on other resources. But mid to late game is when you're gonna farm tacit fields like crazy and build up tubes to level up your echoes. Focus on getting the correct main stat first and then worry about substats later. In fact, early game substats don't matter that much. But early game I would use wave plates for character XP, weapon mats, and skill mats. Also, avoid building too many characters at once. You're going to want to focus on one team at a time. That's 3 characters, an attack, a support, and a healer. Healers and supports can be left at lower levels than the attack, so obviously focus on your main DPS more than anything. But the main thing you're going to want to do to secure your Asrites for the Cyberpunk collab is to increase your world level, or your Soul 3 phase. You do this by completing the main story, increasing your union level, and finishing required ascension quests. This will give you access to better drops, more resources, faster progression, and events that give you hella Asrite. So yeah, in order to do this, the main quest is the most important, as well as side quests and exploring the map. You can access any main quest based on the version update. So 1.0, you can start questing there. You can start at 2.0, you can start at 3.0, and I wouldn't recommend completely skipping the story. I mean, 1.0 story kind of drags, and this is a lot of story to do in a month. That's how long the collab lasts. But If you do want to skip the story, I'm going to be posting a story explained for dummies. So subscribe if you be into hearing the story in a funny way. Because I won't lie, 1.0 can be pretty boring. And I know you got Asrite to grind. But anyway, when it comes to building teams for the game, you're going to want a main DPS, a sub DPS, and a support. Like for instance, Lucy's the main DPS and Rebecca's going to be the sub DPS. You can use any healer as a support. But for you as a new player, I'd recommend Havoc Rover as the main DPS, maybe a Donjin or Sanwa as a sub DPS support buffer, and Farina or Shorekeeper as the healer. Maybe even Baiji if you don't have either of those. That's typically how you build a team, right? And when it comes to endgame, beating endgame will net you multiple ways to get Asrite. So in order to beat endgame, you're going to want multiple teams. For Tower of Adversity, I'd say 3. For Whimper and Waste, you're going to need at least 2 AoE based teams. And I won't lie, End Matrix, you're going to need at least like 5 to 6 teams that can get 5k easy points. Also, you're going to want to build teams around different elements or different mechanics like Toon Break and Negative Status. So maybe you have a Glacio team, an Electro team, a Fusion team, then a Toon Break team, and a Negative Status Fusion Burst team. You know, you're going to want to balance out your teams like that. It'll take a long time, but I know you can do it. Other than that, there's also the holograms, which net Asrite when you beat them. I wouldn't recommend focusing on holograms though, but they're a good way to train yourself, learn how to dodge, learn combat, and get some Asrite along the way. Other than that, there are some secret ways you can gain a little bit of Asrite on the side if you didn't know. If you max out your cooking stat, you'll gain some Asrite. If you max out your synthesis, you know, building mats, that menu, you can gain Asrite from that as well. So both these methods are hella expensive. You can also exchange any collectibles for more Asrite. But other than that, you're going to want to log in every day, complete your dailies, spend your wave plates, gather Asrite from the map, make sure you get access to events eventually, farm your mats, progress the story, build your characters, and by the time you reach Lahai Roy for the Cyberpunk collab, you should be completely ready, not just with Asrite, but teams and characters and a whole game to play around these characters. But here's my final advice. Finish the main story as soon as possible. Build one really strong team first. For instance, Havoc Rover, Sanwa, and Shorekeeper or Verena. Save Asrite aggressively. Learn quick swapping, dodging, parrying if possible. And don't waste your resources chasing perfect echoes early. Do all that and you should be prepared for the Cyberpunk collab when you make it there. That's all I really got to say. If you got any more questions, let me know in the comments. Peace. No matter